Can we please come together and be a normal community and just enjoy the game for what it is, be aware of its shortcomings and make it known, and don't become defensive of it? Hey, how's it going this night? I wanted to talk to you guys about something that is very important to me. I feel like the sentiment towards Genshin Impact currently is very negative, which there are reasons for that to be justifiable, and there are reasons that I feel are a bit more exaggerated, but that's for a different time. What I really want to focus on is content creators and how their scope and their scale really affects the perception that people have towards the game. I also want to talk about division in the content creator section and how there is essentially two polar opposite sides that contribute to some of this view or this outlook that players have. Now, if we take a look at some of the larger content creators, there are definitely good ones out there that make Genshin content. I know, shocking, right? But they have some quality content, and some of them are quite interesting and quite entertaining. However, in the top end of CCs for Genshin, there are not many creators that are critical of the game or of HOYO's practices with the game. So what does this mean? This creates a saturated top end of content creators who are unwilling or even unable at times to share their true thoughts on the game, or even just creators that are unwilling to give feedback to HOYO. And this hurts the player experience, and it does not seek to build a better game or community. Now, it's important to remember that a very large majority of viewers will only be exposed to the biggest creator within a community. And this is with any community. And because of that, it's really important that CCs deliver a very transparent and honest opinion on the game. However, this is not happening. And honestly, it's letting the community down. You know, we need our big content creators to advocate for us because they're the ones that are in touch with the company and they're the ones that can help make things happen, right? And even outside of the high end of content creators with the most views, you still see strange issues when it comes to creating content for Genshin. There are up and coming CCs and mid-level CCs that have to tiptoe around when they're trying to express certain opinions that may be viewed as controversial. We all know what controversial means in this community. Or even in some cases where content creators have to put a trigger warning to their audiences before they deliver feedback to HOYO. I mean, man, I've seen content creators apologize for having specific opinions about characters. Like, it's a game where you can't express an opinion about a fictional character. And I think it's getting ridiculous, to be honest. But let's continue to talk. This situation has kind of created an echo chamber in Genshin that disallows people to express themselves outside of the community's approved way of thinking. Echo chambers serve only to expose people of ideologies that they find favorable. And this disallows them to gain perspective from contrasting views. This is the only possible outcome when our content creators aren't willing to speak out against HOYO, as well as having a vocal minority loosely censor what the community is allowed to say. So these two things in tandem are creating a very stressful environment or a very limited scope environment in which you either play the game that they want you to play or you don't play at all, right? And I'm not talking about the game itself with all the waifus. I'm talking about like the whole scope of it. Like if you're going to make content, you better do it a certain way or you're going to be canceled, or you're going to be not canceled, but you're going to be set aside in a little box. You're going to be one of those creators, right? So, but I digress. Let's continue. I believe that it is always good to be exposed to opposing mindsets in order to broaden your overall perspectives because of the aforementioned reasons and because of the knee-jerk reaction tendencies of the community. A lot of our outspoken content creators have left the scene, and they have a less than favorable view of Genshin Impact as a whole. And as a result, we're left with typically streamers that are incentivized to have a positive bias towards HOYO or towards Genshin Impact, who are actually just not allowed to say negative things. And this is creating a very negative environment for the game. Our voice of reasons have stepped away. You know? Now let's get into the metaphorical meat and potatoes of this entire discussion. Like I said, a lot of content creators have moved on from Genshin at this point, and they genuinely dislike the game because of the path that they've experienced with it. These are the outspoken creators that would have served as our ambassadors for change in the community. And now that they're all gone, we're left with the contractually obligated streamers that are forced to have a positive bias towards the game or towards HOYO. Some of the creators that I'm talking about are ones like Mtashed, rest in peace. Gotcha Smack, very critical creator, very good creator. Genizad, who's an up-and-coming guy who's very opinionative. And even the Bald Man, that you dare not mention with any positivity in this community, or you will risk your own PR. Isn't that ridiculous? These creators have recently caused HOYO to make consumer-friendly adjustments in HSR. Imagine that. HSR just recently announced that they're going to be raising the power level of older units and also adding a skip feature, which was heavily asked for the dialogue fluff. Okay, this is a recent example of why it's important to have constructive criticism in the community. Literally, something being enacted because these people spoke out and were willing to testify their opinions, right? This is why it's important, and this just happened. I think it's understandable at this point that many of the creators that have left Genshin now speak very negatively of the game, and they seek to dissuade people from playing the game or joining the community. Make no mistakes, this will hurt Genshin, and it will prevent it from growing to some degree, whether you want to accept it or not. I mean, there's a reason that these companies pay so much to these content creators as sponsorships. Their reach actually matters, and it's very important. So we have this huge division between HOYO contractually obligated creators and the ones that have been jaded by the community, by the mistreatment of the community, by the overreaction of the community, and even by the mistreatment of HOYO being blacklisted or threatened to have their monetary income jeopardized just for playing other games. It's no wonder that these people do not want other people to join this community and have this toxic experience for themselves. So in a lot of ways, the community has caused a lot of the current issues we're facing by responding so ridiculously to some of these CCs. Now we have prominent detractors to Genshin who advocate to large audience that it isn't worth playing. I mean, honestly, it's really cringe, man, but I do enjoy Genshin Impact. I feel like there are still normal people that just want to enjoy the game remaining in this community. I feel as though a lot of us need to hide and be embarrassed because a lot of these other detractors from the game really hate the game and they have justifiable cause to hate the game. However, I'm hoping that this is a signal, I'm casting a line out. Maybe there are common folk like me that are normal and they don't want to cause drama and they just want to play the game for what it is. Now that being said, I am never going to be someone to censor. I will always be somebody to advocate against HOYO when they're doing evil practices that should be called out, like the Casterist shit in HSR, right? That is just not great. Adding a character with an ability that buffs an account globally, and if you don't have it, you can't have access to that ability. That is a bad practice. Or the double banner on Mawika and Sitlali, right? And there is a lot of virtue signaling in this community. A lot of people are willing to say whatever it takes just to get likes. And I'm not just talking about content creators. I'm talking about people on Twitter that are just brainless and follow the crowd. Look, nobody cares what you said on Twitter. Nobody's going to remember that 10 years from now. All that matters is what your experience is in the current time. So do what you enjoy. Do what you truly enjoy. And screw what everybody else thinks. Okay? Now, I'm making a promise as a very stable-minded Genshin player, surely, I will not be spending money on HSR going forward if they implement the Resurrect ability on Castris, and then if Genshin Impact continues to do scummy acts, I will not pay any more money to them as well until they get their act straight. I know I am just a single person, a single gear in the cog, if you will, but at least I will not be a virtue signaler. So, I guess, all things aside, I would like for whatever's left of the rational Genshin Impact community, I know there's not many of you, can we please come together and be a normal community and just enjoy the game for what it is, be aware of its shortcomings and make it known and don't become defensive of it? Maybe someday some of these big CCs that have left the game, maybe they'll come back and maybe they'll play the game and it won't be as ridiculous for them. I totally get why you would not want to make content for this game. I'm just hoping that we could just bring this back and it'll be all good. But, you know, at the end of the day, if the game's on its last page, then it's on its last page. You know, it's been a good hoorah. Anyways, this has been Nieyte. Let me know if I left out any lingering thoughts or if you have any questions, concerns, comments, reviews. Yeah, peace out.